Hello everyone, I'm Chris Taylor, President and CEO of Great Bear Resources. I thought I'd take this opportunity to walk everybody through some of the excellent results that we've generated over the past several months at the Dixie Project located in the Red Lake District of Ontario. As our investors know, the Dixie property is owned 100% by Great Bear with no royalty overhang and has generated a series of excellent near-surface high-grade gold results. On the image in front of you, what you can see is a map view of the Dixie Limb Zone and the Dixie Hinge Zone, which are the areas of the most concentrated drilling on the project. And the scale of the map that you're looking at in front of you would cover about just under a kilometer by a kilometer. It's a fairly broad area. A lot of the gold that we see in this area, we interpret as being controlled by geological contacts and the large D2 folds, which are present on the project and are a defining characteristic of mineralization controls also elsewhere in the district. So what you notice when you look at this image, the Dixie Limb Zone, this is the zone that we knew about when we acquired the project and it had been explored by past operators, is labeled in DL. The other zone where a lot of our recent results have been coming from is the Dixie Hinge Zone, and that's coded as DHZ further to the south or the bottom of this map. And as you can see, like this is an image that we produced. This was about in early 2019. And you can see some of the excellent numbers that we've got highlighted on here, including very high grade gold results in both areas and quite shallow gold mineralization. If you look at the map, it'll highlight that we have these two axial planes in the area of our drilling. One of them, effectively near the Dixie Hinge Zone, we've done quite a bit of work on, and we're encountering very exciting near-surface high-grade gold. The other one, which is located further to the north of the Dixie Limb Zone, we noticed in some of the past drilling that we were doing that this appears to be another D2 axial plane or fold closure area. And what we're looking at along here is additionally some high-grade gold results that are localized along that axial plane as well. So close to both axial planes, you have centers of mineralization and intrusion of various, mafic bodies, ultramafic bodies, and also felsic bodies. So on the northern D2 axial plane, we have a quartz feldspar porphyry dike, which has intruded along that axial plane. On the southern one, there's an ultramafic body and a number of other features that are there, a number of other dikes, and of course also the gold mineralization. So as I'm speaking, what I'm going to do here is walk through some slides that show the Dixie Limb and then progress in the Hinge Zone. On the next cross-section, what we show is our understanding of the project around December of 2018. So this is only about 4 to 5 months ago now. So what you can see is the Dixie Limb Zone, the original zone we've been discussing on the right side of the image. Then there's a purple body in the middle. That's the ultramafic unit that we see dividing these two. There's a fault along the side that as well. And then on the left side of the image, the Dixie Hinge Zone. So you can see some of the highlighted results that we had, this is a few months back. So 26.91 grams per ton gold over 9.81 meters. Then you can see some of the other ones. They were more recent drill results. DHZ 012, which was our deepest hole at the time we made this section. That was 27.36 grams per ton gold over 3.65 meters, including about an ounce and a half, 46 grams per ton gold over 2.15 meters. So you can see our understanding was expanding from having just one zone, the Dixie Limb, to having effectively two subparallel zones, the Dixie Limb and the Hinge Zones. Moving along to the next image, what we see is a representation of our current understanding of what the Hinge Zone looks like. And what you can see here is effectively some of the more recent drill results that we've issued. One of these included DHZ 023. This is where we encountered an over 40 meter wide zone of repeating multiple high-grade gold-bearing quartz veins. And effectively what we're seeing here, and this is the important point, is that we don't have individual veins or an individual zone in the hinge. What we have is a swarm of gold-bearing quartz veins or a network of gold-bearing quartz veins. What we can tell when we drill into this area, we can very accurately predict, or so far with the drilling that we've done, we've been able to very actively predict where we're going to intercept the gold mineralization within about 10 or 15 meters of where we predict it with our three-dimensional modeling. We don't know before we drill it how many gold-bearing veins are going to be or what the grade or width of those individual veins is going to be, but in the recent drilling, what we've been noticing is again and again in the drill holes is multiple high-grade gold-bearing quartz veins in a vein network. And what that is effectively anywhere between 40 meters, or I think the widest we've seen so far is about 140 meters of repeating gold-bearing veins. It's very exciting for us because this is shallow, high-grade gold mineralization. You can see the depth here from surface on the image that you're looking at. The highlighted intervals are anywhere from about less than 50 meters depth to about 150 meters depth. It's very near surface high-grade gold. It seems that a defining characteristic of the Hinge Zone is these repeated parallel high-grade veins within an envelope that strikes roughly east-west and continues subparallel to that ultramafic body that you see highlighted in the middle and subparallel to the Dixie Limb Zone, which is located further to the north. On the next image, what we've shown is the same graphic, but now overlaid with some of the planned drilling that will be taking place here in 2019 and going forward into 2020. And you can see it's effectively, we've defined this mineralization in the Hinge Zone so far at relatively shallow depths. But obviously in the Red Lake District, the other mineralized zones, the other deposits and mines in the area tend to go down to very significant depths. So you can see in yellow, we've highlighted some of the planned drilling that we have going forward. And you can see very intuitively that those drill holes will start to test the Hinge Zone target down to several hundred meters of vertical depth. The other point that I wanted to emphasize is that because we drill these holes in order to minimize the thickness of the zone. So what we're trying to do is get a representative thickness that's as close to true thickness as we can achieve with the drilling. And so we're drilling effectively from the north towards the south, from the Dixie Limb Zone side of things over towards the Hinge Zone. And that means that what we're seeing is also mineralized intercepts at shallow depth within the Dixie Limb Zone. So effectively, some of the holes that you're seeing in current news releases and going forward are reporting intervals from both the Dixie Limb Zone and their upper levels and the Hinge Zone at their deeper levels. The image that you see in front of you is a long section view of the Hinge Zone, the Dixie Hinge Zone, when Great Bear became involved in the project. And although no discrete zone had been defined at this time, there were positive early indications of an attractive mineralized system. And the numbers that we've got summarized on the long section view here are include 163 grams per ton gold over about half a meter and 32.65 grams per ton gold over about 2 meters, including a couple ounces per ton gold, 61.97 grams per ton gold over a meter. The important feature here wasn't just the grade, it was the style of mineralization and alteration, which were very similar to descriptions and observations of high-grade gold mineralization within other deposits in the region, including the high-grade zone at the main Red Lake gold mine. The next image shows Great Bear's initial drilling into what is now known as the Hinge Zone discovery. So following up on the historic drilling, we completed a series of drill holes. The first one, DHZ-001, was 10.15 grams per ton gold over a meter and a half. This was followed up by DHZ-002, which was about half an ounce per ton gold, 17.18 grams per ton gold over just under 2 meters. And that included about 46 grams per ton gold over just over half a meter. We followed up on that information using oriented drill core and other structural information and an observation of the alteration that we saw in the drill core to predict that there would be areas of thickened high-grade gold mineralization, and we began further drilling in this area. This came up with some very attractive drill results, including our original discovery holes, DHZ-003, which was 26 grams per ton gold over just under 10 meters, approximate true thickness, and DHZ-004, which was 68 grams per ton gold just under 6 meters, approximate true thickness. The next slide shows that once we'd hit on DHZ 003 and 004, we systematically began to define a mineralized volume in this area. Now initially, because we didn't know the orientation of the mineralized zone or its potential size, we called the more westerly drill holes the Dixie South Limb, DSL designation, and the more easterly drill holes DHZ. We used to think that these were discrete mineralized zones. As it turns out, our current interpretation suggests that these are just variants or different locations within a very widespread gold-bearing quartz vein system. So some of the drill results that we came out with afterwards included DSL 004, which was just under 350 grams per ton gold over about half a meter, and DSL 13, which was about 14 grams per ton gold over a meter. And you could see that we began following up with deeper drilling in the original Hinge Zone area. This included 27.36 grams per ton gold over about 3.5 meters, including 46 grams per ton gold, about 1.5 ounces gold over just over 2 meters. By January of 2019, we had discovered our first true bonanza grades within the Dixie Hinge Zone. These included about 935 grams per ton gold over 1.2 meters. And if you thought about the highest grade mineralization within that interval, it was about 1,600 grams per ton gold over about 70 centimeters, 0.7 meters. That's 50 ounces per ton, 50 ounces per ton. That's some of the highest grade gold mineralization that any of our team, including people that have worked underground at the main Red Lake gold mine, have ever seen come out in drill core. Very, very impressive material. But the point on this slide is that showing you an image from January of this year, of 2019, you can see that we saw increasing zones of mineralization, increasing size, and again, our first sort of bonanza grades, which are a characteristic of gold systems in the main Red Lake gold mine and broadly across the Red Lake mining district. The next image shows an update off the Hinge Zone long section from February of 2019. So this is a couple of months ago, but we continued to define more high-grade gold zones. And importantly, in this work, we began to notice that we had multiple parallel zones of high-grade gold mineralization. So effectively, there wasn't just one high-grade gold-bearing vein. There were multiple sub-parallel high-grade gold-bearing veins. But some of the intervals that we generated just a couple months back included 17.88 grams per ton gold over 1.5 meters, 31.6 grams per ton gold over 3.4 meters, including 86 grams over 1.15 meters, and deeper drilling like DHZ 017, 28 grams per ton gold over 1.5 meters, including 80 grams over half a meter. These are very similar to intervals that you could pull these intervals right out from the middle of resource bodies inside of some of the best deposits in the area. This is phenomenal high-grade gold results, and if you look at the relative depths of these numbers, you're looking at mineralization here on this section with a maximum depth of about 250 or certainly under 300 meters. The next image is the same long section view, but showing results that we issued in March of 2019. And what you can see here highlighted on March 11th, 2019 news release step out results is 150 meters away from previous drilling and over 400 meters away from previous drilling. We did series of test holes further to the west along that regional D2 fold axis and encountered more high-grade gold mineralization. So what we're trying to determine with the ongoing drilling is the total size of the Hinge Zone gold-bearing vein system, which still remains unknown. But you can see that the furthest step-out holes, DMS-01, if indeed those holes are still part of the Hinge Zone vein system, that would give us a potential strike length of over 600 meters. And certainly when we're looking at results like DSL 016, remember DSL is old nomenclature. These were planned holes back from before the time that we realized that the South Limb drill holes were actually potentially part of the Hinge Zone vein system. You could see numbers there of over an ounce per ton gold over just under a meter from very shallow depths. It looks very similar in terms of grade distribution to the early drilling that we did in the Hinge Zone itself. And following up on some of this, we had very wide intervals of gold mineralization that we began to see in ongoing Hinge Zone drilling. So you can see DHZ 031, that was an ounce per ton gold approximately over 7 meters, including 130 grams per ton gold over a meter and a half. And the same drill hole, if you think about how this would intercept the long section, had a deeper interval in it of as well of 11.7 grams per ton gold over 4 meters. So what we were seeing is, in this case, up to 140 meters wide of multiple subparallel high-grade gold veins within that Hinge Zone vein network. So as we continue to drill in the Hinge Zone, we continue to extend the mineralization along strike and at depth, and the volume of mineralization continues to impress us in terms of its strength, the number of multiple zones that we're seeing. And now if you look at the step-out drilling that we've done, the potential for expanding the gold mineralization off much further to the west. To recap the growth of the Dixie Hinge Zone, we start off with the drill holes that were already present on the project when we acquired the property. These included some nice high-grade mineralization over 0.5 to 2 meter widths. We proceed to the original discovery holes by Great Bear Resources, which included 26.9 grams per ton gold over 9.81 meters and 68.76 grams per ton gold over 5.8 meters, both of those approximate true widths. We progress to the September to December 28 time period, where we discovered what we initially thought was a separate mineralized zone, the DSL holes, which included 346 grams per ton gold over about half a meter, and further expansions at depth of the Dixie Hinge Zone, including 27.36 grams per ton gold over 3.65 meters. We proceed past that to the discovery of the first true bonanza-grade gold mineralization in January of 2019 in the Hinge Zone. That included 1,600 grams per ton gold over 0.7 meters within 900-odd grams per ton gold within 1.2 meters. We go past that to about February of 2019, where further drilling at depth and along strike included 31.6 grams per ton gold over 3.6 meters and 80 grams per ton gold over half a meter down at quite significant depths of about 250 meters. And finally, we proceed to the results issued in March of 2019, where we did very significant step-out drilling that included high-grade gold mineralization at 150 meters step-out and 400 meters step-out from existing past drilling, and expansion of the Dixie Hinge Zone, including 30 grams per ton gold over 7 meters, and also separate zones, multiple parallel high-grade gold zones, including 11 grams per ton gold over 4 meters, down again at about 250 meters to 300 meters depth. Great Bear is fully funded for 60,000 meters of drilling on our Dixie Project, which is located in the Red Lake District of Ontario. These are shallow, high-grade gold discoveries in the Dixie Hinge Zone and Dixie Limb zones, and we would anticipate generating a large number of drill results throughout 2019 and into 2020 as we continue to expand on these exciting new high-grade discoveries.